I don't know that we discussed this sufficiently in class yesterday. Anyway, I want to give you a better sense of the answer if you're struggling with this one. Suppose Phil and Lisa split the cost evenly. We have these valuations. Phil values it at $100 a month, Lisa at $300 a month, and the guard is going to charge $220 a month for the service. So this one goes, if Phil and Lisa had to split the cost evenly, would the guard be hired? So the cost is $110 each, half of $220. Phil would oppose, and this is our strictly rational model, not the real world. In the real world, sometimes you go along with that for the sake of the group, because you know sometimes it works in your favor elsewhere. But just on assuming that the Phil will oppose, if the benefits are less than his costs, he's going to oppose. Guard doesn't get hired. That wasn't the hard part of this problem. The harder part could have been what's the proportional tax necessary? And here was where I started worrying, because I realized as I was helping students in my office yesterday that I made an example where the proportional tax came out to be just the same as in the homework, and I didn't want to give you the sense that that is necessarily the case, always the case, or even ever the case. But anyway, the way you figure out what the proportional tax you would take to get that proportion, you would take the cost of the guard and divide that through by combined income. So you get 220 divided by 22,000, and that works out to be 0.01, which is 1%. But be aware that I could have had the guard cost 250, and then the right answer would be 250 divided by 22,000, which is going to be 1.25%. Let's just got a calculator right here, and let's just do that. That would be 1.136%, or 0.01136. Anyway, just be aware that could work out any which way. Now, this last one is maybe the hardest for people whose algebra skills are a little rusty, and I know that includes many of us. Well, this last part was maybe a little tricky, and in the problem in the book and the problem in the homework, they had the answer to part C work out to be the same as for part B, and I really wanted to emphasize that that's not generally the case, and I don't know why they did it that way, but anyway, I did it differently than that. The way to do this here is to Phil and Lisa would each receive the same net benefit. So that's the key. Phil's net benefit, well, let's let X is what Phil pays, and let's set Y equals, that X was really not my best X, what Lisa pays, and then in that case, this condition that the net benefit be the same is as follows: 100 minus X has to equal 300 minus Y. And we also know, just by the givens, that X plus Y has to be enough, and exactly enough, to pay the guard. So we know the sum has got to be 220. And that's a linear system. There's a lot of ways to solve a linear system. My favorite way, I think probably because I learned at whatever stage I learned this stuff, I can't remember now. It's been a long time. I'm going to add y to both sides of the first expression and subtract 100 from both sides. And I'm going to end up with the following. Negative x plus y equals 200. And then I can solve a linear system easily enough by combining that information with the following. X plus y, remember, equals 220. And I can actually just add these two linear systems together. Sort of a quick way to solve these systems. And notice that negative x plus positive x is 0. And then y plus y is 2y. And then 200 plus 220 is 420. So I know y is 210, and that leaves x equal to 10. Now, how much would they pay? Will the guard get hired? In this case, we know that Lisa's benefit is more than the 210 that she has to pay, so she'd vote yes in this strictly rational view. Phil's benefit is 100, he pays 10, he would vote yes, and that's the end of the story in the rational model. In the real world, we know that, well, A, this information on people's true valuations is not known for sure, but B, there's these social norms regarding fairness can really pose a problem when they're violated, and it may be the case that Lisa says, I'm paying 210, you freeloader, you're paying 10, this guy's guarding both of our property, this is outrageous. And we know, because we know valuations, that it's fair in the sense that they receive the same net benefit, but that's not readily apparent, and there's not generally an easy way to get people to reveal that valuation. So anyway, that can be, if someone gets outraged over this, that can be a problem. Before I realized I didn't take part B all the way home. Let me go back to part B. Part B, so they each pay 1% of income. That means Phil pays 20. Lisa pays she earns $20,000 a month. She pays $200, and then guard gets hired again under this rational model assumption. And the advantage of doing it proportional tax is that even though the payment is lopsided, people nevertheless may perceive that, may be more likely to perceive that as fair. Okay, we each paid 1%, that makes sense. So anyway, that's one of the considerations we have to make, as we have to take into account as we vote for our elected officials.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.